Michelle?
Carlos, obviously you guys want to approach every series, every opponent the same. But what is the one specific thing that you want to do well in this rematch against the Dodgers?
Win the series. That's our goal. Every time we're playing any team, especially a team like this, World Series, they knocked us out last year. We know they're good, but we also know we're good too. So it'll be fun. It'll be a good weekend here. I'm excited about it, and got to get the job done here.
Howie? Oh, Tony? Then sorry.
Vientos in the 2-hole, you had Marte there 2 days ago. Obviously, why the switch?
Yeah, I think it's just bullpen-wise. When the other day I felt like they were a little short, and I was looking more for trying to get the starter. Here, I'm trying to get to the starter as well, but they're set up, after an off day. We got some lefties, some righties, where there's strategy to it, where like you could potentially pinch hit certain guys in certain situations. So that's all to it.
And do you have a better idea what's next for Blackburn and Montas?
So Monte's going to start his rehab assignment tomorrow. So he's got 2 innings and 30, 35 pitches in Brooklyn. Blackburn is going one more in AAA. I think it's Tuesday. He's got one more outing, and then we have a decision there.
Now, Howie.
Carlos, just to kind of piggyback on what Tony was talking about. I know with the lefties, each of the last 2 games, you had the right-handers up in that 2-hole too. But do you also want to look at Soto in the 3-hole for any length of time, or is this just strictly the matchups you've had the last 2 games?
Yeah, I feel like I'm leaning towards giving it a look here with Soto in the 3-hole, Pete on the 4-hole. Then that 2, it depends. It could be Vientos, it could be Martis in the lineup. If I want to go back-to-back lefties, depending on who we're playing and how they set up in the bullpen. So, but as of right now, I'm probably going to give it a look and see what we got.
So if you do that and Soto's third, would Nimmo against a right-hander be a candidate to move up to 2? Is that something?
Potential. But again, depending who the starter, what's their bullpen look like. But I could see a scenario where Nim hits second, but I also don't want to. Then you're looking at a lot of righties, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's a lot of different ways here, trying to balance as much as possible. But in the meantime, try not only to get to the starter, but not giving the other team some easy lanes, whether are righties or lefties.
Is there anything else about Soto hitting third that intrigues you that you think could work long term?
Yeah. So last year, obviously, he had a really good year hitting in 2-hole in front of Judgy, right? But when you look at his numbers on that 3-hole, I think they're better. So for me, it's just, you want to have the best hitters at the top, but also maybe creating some traffic for him. And we saw that the other day in Boston, where I feel like, bases loaded for him. Then Pete had traffic. So I'm just trying to create a little bit of traffic for those 2 guys and see how it goes.
Abby?
Last fall, the challenge with the Dodgers was a very patient lineup. Do you still see that patience in this lineup right now? And just what's the biggest challenge in navigating that for the pitching staff?
Yeah, and that's what makes them a really good team offensively as well. We know they're pitching, even though they got some guys that are hurting right now. But really good hitters that can do a lot of different things with hitting for average, getting the ball out of the ballpark, but they control the strike zone. And last year in the playoff, they controlled the zone, and we gave them a lot of free passes. We're going to have to attack them, and that's I know it's not an easy thing to do, but we got to believe on our stuff here and not giving them too much credit. Even though they're good, we know we're good too.
I know every day the emphasis is on not allowing free passes, but is there a little bit more of an emphasis with this lineup, just given the damage that that they can do, and that you could end up with a couple guys getting walked just the way that they don't often, the way they control the strike zone.
Yeah, and that's a deep lineup too, 1 through 9. You give them a free pass, 2 of them, and what's behind is they're good hitters, and that's why you have to stay on the attack with these guys. They're good, but we also know we're good, so it'll be fun today, this series.
Laura?
Luis Suarez is having such a strong season on both sides of the ball. How do you kind of balance having that in the lineup in addition to also continuing Francisco Alvarez's development?
Yeah, and this is something that we continue to monitor. Luis continues to play well, but also Alvarez, we know the ceiling and the type of player he is, right? So we got to get him going too. I think it's a good problem to have. They both will continue to get playing time because they're both really good defensively and offensively, especially Louis with the way he's been swinging the bat. He's been very, very clutch for us. So, yeah, we will continue to, like I said, monitor and have those guys and giving both of them some playing time.
And just in terms of Soto, I know he's always been very patient at the plate, but are you noticing any apprehension in his at-bats at all?
As far as like being patient?
Yeah, like taking a lot of pitches like that sort of
Yeah, and that's, what makes him elite is not only his ability to use the whole field hit for power, but the way he controls the strike zone. Maybe they're getting ahead now. I think I see it as probably a stretch where it happens. It's baseball, so the league is probably makes him recognizing that, and he's going to have to make some adjustments. Maybe, you know what, I need to be a little bit more aggressive here in this situation. So, and I'm pretty sure he'll do that because he's too good of a hitter.
Tim?
You used basically the same top three of the order for the first 6-7 weeks of the season. When you decide to move it just a little bit, do you run that by? How much do you run that by Soto and Alonso to make sure they're on board and know what the reasoning behind it?
Yeah, before I make any decision, I think I'm going to go back probably 2 weeks ago when I first brought it up to them. Hey, if we go this route, how would you feel? And from the very beginning, there were no hesitation. And then after the second game in Boston, I went up to them and it wasn't like it was with conviction. I'm whatever you need. When I went to Soto, whatever you need, I'm good with it. Pete, what do you think? Whatever you need, whatever the team needs. So that for me, it's an easier decision for me when there's no hesitation from those guys.
John?
Juan has said that there's adjustments going to a new team, and he says he's still adjusting. Do you notice him getting more comfortable, or do you agree? Do you see that he's adjusting still?
He is, and it takes time. I've seen stretches where he looks, okay, I'm comfortable, but there's also been few days where it's like, oh, he's still kind of searching, and that's my job. That's the coach's job to continue to, make him, support him in whatever he needs, I feel like he's in a good place. And he's too good of a player. He's going to be fine.
Abby?
Soto's been the new kid a couple times last year with the Yankees, especially. Have you talked to Boone about how long it took Soto to settle in, or anything like that? Just what Aaron Boone learned from Soto being new in this market and new on a team last year.
Yeah, I think he's been in different teams, right? But what's new is the contract. That's the biggest difference here. This is a guy that everybody knows, right? The type of money and all that went in the off season. And honestly, for me, I feel like the frustrations that he's not coming through for the team, especially with runners in scoring position. I feel like if that ball in St. Louis goes out, it's a 3-run homer. I think there was another one. So there's been 3 or 4 where probably a difference here. And maybe sometimes that gets to him because he's such a competitor, and he wants to perform. And he feels like he's not producing the way he's capable. But when you look at the underlying number, that's what we keep saying, hey, man, just keep hitting the ball hard. Keep hitting the ball hard. But as far as conversations with Boone and all that, I have some of them in the offseason. But everything that they told me is what we're seeing. Great guy, competes, cares, great teammate, and obviously a great player.
Mike?
Carlos, when we talk about players pressing, it's usually from an offensive standpoint at the plate. Beatty has turned himself into such a good defender at third base, and you got Vientos back at third tonight. He struggled a little bit defensively. Do you sense Vientos pressing at all defensively with the situation that you've got there with the two of them now?
No, I wouldn't say pressing. I just see it as the same way they go through struggles at the plate offensively and tough stretches. They go through it defensively at times, and I feel like couple of misplays here and there, especially some routine plays, that maybe he's thinking about that, but I don't think he's pressing because of the situation with Beatty. Not at all. These two guys came up together. There's always been like a healthy competition, and they root for each other. So I don't see it that way. I think he's just more like a player, just like they go through some struggles offensively. He's going through it defensively, but he continues to work hard. He continues to put in the effort. He's going to be fine.
Good. Thank you, Carlos.